Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, March 28th. There's a little over 400 albums coming out this week. Got 10 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's a little over 400 albums coming out this week, but I'm only going to talk about 10 of them on the show today. So if something you're looking forward to that I don't have on here, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section. You can also always go over to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. I got all the pre-orders on there, new releases, there's deals on music, all sorts of cool stuff to check out. So I think one of the bigger releases this week is be this new box set from Fleetwood Mac. This is Fleetwood Mac 1975 to 1987. It's a new 6 LP box set. It's going to run you about $142 online. So this box set is covering the most commercially successful period from the band. I think it has pretty much all their best albums included in it. So you've got their self-titled album from 75, which of course was the first album with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks on it. You've got Rumors from 77, Tusk from 79, Mirage from 82, and Tango in the Night from 1987. And then the 6th LP that's included in this box set has stereo and mono versions of Silver Springs and Go Your Own Way on it. It's limited to 1,000 copies. It's going to be on clear vinyl. It's Fleetwood Mac, so I'm sure it's going to sell a lot of copies, especially since it is more limited. My issue with this is there's things in Fleetwood Mac's catalog that haven't been pressed in a long time. All these albums have been pressed to death over the years, especially like their self-titled album and Rumors. I think there have been at least 5 or 6 pressings of those albums over the last few years. Is there that big of a draw for these albums that they need to have a box set that has them in it? I don't really know, but like I said, it's going to sell really well. It is Fleetwood Mac. $142 is a lot for me. If I can get this for less than $100, I might grab a copy of it because I think I only have the first 2 albums that are included in it. But it is things like this that cause delays in record production because they are pressing things like this over and over and over again. But whatever, that's a whole separate topic. But so that's coming out this week. You've also got Sex Pistols Live in the U.S.A. 1987 coming out. So it's going to run you about $30. This is going to be on white vinyl. So this is the second of 3 releases. The Atlanta show was released last month. You're getting the Dallas performance this week. And then the San Francisco show is going to be released on April 25th. Also on April 25th, you're getting the CD box set of all these performances all together. The significance of these releases are that it is chronicling the very last days of the Sex Pistols. It would be after the San Francisco show that the band would break up. And, at least this is at the end of the beginning period or the original period of the band. Of course, they would go on to reform in the 90s, but it was never the same. Of course, Sid Vicious was no longer with us at that point. I decided that I'm probably not going to buy these vinyl releases individually. I'm probably going to just pick up the CD box set when it comes out in April, but, it's one that will be available this week. There's one music on vinyl release of note coming out this week. This is Tonic, Head On Straight. Came out back in 2002. It was their 3rd studio album. It's going to run you about $33. It's going to be on black vinyl. So typically what music on vinyl does is when they have an album like this that's never been available on vinyl before, they do like this limited run. It's always on colored vinyl. They'll do like limited to 1,000 copies or 1,500 copies. And then later on down the line, they'll do a standard black release that's more widely available. But I'm kind of surprised they're not doing that with this album. And I don't know if it's because it's not Tonic's most popular album. Of course, the band is known for Lemon Parade, but they're one of those bands where I don't think you really go wrong with any of their first 3 albums. This is a good one. It was met with really good reviews. Hit number like 140 or 141 on the Billboard 200. Their second album, Sugar, is equally as good, released in 99. So if all you know from the band is just Lemon Parade, definitely go back through and check out both of those. It's one I'll at least consider grabbing this week. You've also got the new album from Alison, Krauss, and Union Station coming out this week. This is Arcadia. It's going to run you about $24. So this is their 7th studio album. It's the very first album with Alison Krauss that she's done with Union Station since 2011. Of course, Alison is known for being one of the most influential bluegrass musicians of the last 4 decades. But if that's all you know from Alison Krauss, she's released 15 albums. This is her 15th album that she's released since the early part of the 80s. So definitely go back through and check out some of her music. The last album she did with Union Station, which was Paper Airplane back in 2011, was met with widespread critical acclaim. They won 2 Grammys off of that album. Like I said, if all you know is just the stuff she did with Robert Plant, definitely go back through and check out all the other stuff from her career. There's also a reissue of the 30th anniversary pressing of Doggystyle by Snoop Dogg coming out this week. So this was released back in 1993. It was his debut studio album. It's on 2 LPs. It's going to be on clear vinyl. It's going to run you about $35. So this is, like I said before, this is a reissue of the 2023 30th anniversary release, which the significance of that album was that was the very first album since the original pressing back in 1993 that included G's Up and Hose Down on it. This is an album that, in my opinion, is easily one of the most significant rap albums of the last 35 years. And this is one that I think I've got like a 2014 pressing of this on vinyl. I don't have a copy of the 30th anniversary release, even though I've almost picked up a couple times. I probably will grab a copy of that this week. And then you've also got Santana, Sentient coming out. So this is kind of an interesting release. So this is 11 reimagined tracks that Santana had previously done as collaborations with other musicians. It's going to run you about $27. There's going to be an indie exclusive version of this album. It's going to be on clear, orange, and purple splatter vinyl. This is one where, I've never been a huge fan of Santana's collaborations. Yes, he's done some stuff great on his own albums, but largely these are songs that he worked on with other musicians on their albums. But he was going through some of the stuff he's done throughout his career, and he thought to himself, at least from the interview I read, let's have all these songs all in one place. So he took them all and kind of reimagined them a little bit. But you got songs on here with DMC, Michael Jackson, Smokey Robinson, Miles Davis, among a bunch of other ones. This is one where I probably won't pick up a copy of it this week, but I'll at least stream it and check it out. There's also a reissue of L'Enfant Sauvage by Gojira coming out this week. This was released back in 2012. It was their 5th studio album. It's a 2 LP release. It's on forest green vinyl. It's going to run you about $38. My French is horrible, so I'm sure I butchered the name of the album, but it is Wild Child is the translation of the title. This was their major label debut. This is an album where they'd been with Listenable for their previous 2 albums. They went to this major label, and this was the album I think really broke them out into the mainstream, at least here in the U.S. But it hit number 34, I think, on the Billboard 200. It was met with widespread critical acclaim. And this is an album where Revolver Magazine would actually name this the second best album overall of the 2010s. But to be fair, this is the only album I've listened to from the band, and I think I've only listened to maybe half of it. So I definitely need to go back through and revisit that this week. I've never been a big metal fan, but it's one I definitely need to add to the list, because I feel like every time I say that, I find another metal band that I like. So, like I said, I'll go through and check out some of their stuff this week. You've also got Ministry, the Squirrely Years Revisited, coming out this week. So this is going to run you about $28. So for people out there that don't know, Ministry, which of course is known as one of the most influential industrial bands of the 80s and 90s, actually started their career as a synth pop band. And Ministry has largely kind of ignored that early period of the band for years. I think it's mainly because they would go on to help define industrial rock in the 80s and 90s. And for this new release, the band is going back and reimagining a lot of those earlier tracks from the band, from that early, like they're going back to the roots almost basically on this album. But it looks like there's a couple of different versions or variants going to be available of this one. It's going to be available on standard black. There's a red version, there's a green and black splatter version, and there's also a white version, which is going to be the indie exclusive. And I look at Ministry, I guess the same way I look at Gojira, where I've only listened to maybe just a handful of their songs over the years, but they're bands I need to go back through and try to listen to more of their stuff, because I'm always trying to listen to albums and genres that I've never gotten into before, because sometimes you're surprised and you love stuff that you never would have thought you would have liked. There's been lots of albums like that over the years, so I'll go back through and stream some of their stuff this week. You've also got the new album from Mumford Sons coming out this week. This is Rushmere. It's their 5th studio album. Looks like there's a couple of different versions or variants of this one coming out also. There's a Bloodshot Red version, which is going to be the indie exclusive. There's a gray version, which is the Amazon exclusive. It's also going to be available on black vinyl. It's going to run you about $30. So for the new album, the band decided to bring in Dave Cobb to produce. So Dave has worked with some great musicians. He's worked with Chris Stapleton. He's worked with Sturgill Simpson. He did both of the Rival Sons albums last year. He's a great producer if you're unfamiliar with his work. And I'm glad they brought him in on this one, because, in my opinion, the last 2 Mumford & Sons albums weren't as good as their first couple. I don't want to call them disappointments, but I don't think they were quite as good as Babel was. They've released 2 singles off the new album. It's gotten a lot of really good reviews so far. I haven't listened to the singles yet. I want to wait until the album comes out this week and listen to the entire album in full. But from what people are saying about these songs already, it sounds like it might be a return to form album for the band. So keep that one in mind this week. You've also got Lamb of God, New American Gospel coming out. So this was released back in 2000. So this was technically their second studio album, but it was their first album under the Lamb of God name. It's going to run you about $33. It's going to be on black, white, and gold splatter vinyl. So the band released their first album under the name Burn the Priest. I've never listened to anything off of that album. I think this is the only Lamb of God album I've actually listened to all the way through, but it's definitely raw and aggressive. It would really, I think, set the foundation for what the band would do throughout the rest of their career, or at least so far through their career. Actually, I take that back, because I think I've listened to Sacrament was the name of the album, and then like 2009 or 2010, I think Wraith was the name of the other one. I know I've listened to those 2 albums also, but it's another one of those albums I need to go back through and listen to more of. I got a lot of stuff to at least stream and check out this week before I go to the record store. Well, that's all I get for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. I got a lot of stuff to stream. I'll stream the new Alison Krauss album. I'll stream that new Santana album. I'll stream that new Mumford Sons. That Fleetwood Mac, like I said, I'm on the fence. If I can get it for less than $100, I might grab a copy of it. We'll see about that one. The only one I know for sure I'm going to grab is that Snoop Dogg album. But let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.